Hello, my citizens. And by citizens, I of course mean my captive audience, who I tax the life out of while I swim in my custom-made billion-dollar golden tub made of gold-plated marble floors that I pay undocumented people $2 an hour to clean and wax every day. Anyway, people, in this video, I wanted to show me, Donald Trump's, reaction to the International Women's Day speech that was posted about 5 months ago. You know, some of you call me a misogynist for my views, but how wrong you are. I love women, specifically making fun of them. But today I am going to give an honest and only 4% misogynist reaction to this video. Mostly so, Mr. Judge won't deny me food and water again. Anyway, back to the video.
People sometimes say, what's the point of International Women's Day? Do we still need one? And looking around this room tonight and feeling the energy and the support, the answer is a resounding yes. Absolutely. We need this moment. We need every day to be International Women's Day, but
you never establish why Women's Day needs to happen in the first place, much less every day. The amount of support you get does not justify why something needs to be a thing. By that logic, it's fine for me to require everyone to wear a Batman mascot costume every day because a lot of people supported the idea. Also, why should women get a holiday that lasts every day of the year while men don't even get one? That's biased as hell.
Sadly, that is not the case when 50% of the population around the world do not have equal chances with men, whether that's across business or politics or education or health.
It is true that significant inequalities between men and women still exist in many parts of society. However, you also state that you don't want just one holiday where you're treated special, but that you want to be treated special every single day. The very foundation of equality is the removal of special treatment in favor of fair and equal treatment. You can't logically advocate for a level playing field while also demanding a pedestal you want to be queen. For this reason, you are the last person who should be preaching about equality. Matter of fact, it's past time you are in a retirement home.
The UN Women data reveals that we're nearly 300 years away globally from achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is, of course, equality for women and girls.
First of all, let's be clear here. That estimate was made up by women who applied their subjective standard for what equality means. Secondly, there are plenty of areas where equality has already been achieved, such as legal equality, but that usually only applies to Western countries. And while we may not be able to say precisely when that will no longer be the case, it is speculative to say it will happen in 300 years. The more likely scenario is that, while women will continue to enjoy freedom in Western civilizations, they won't in places like the Middle East and other areas where traditional foundations that lasted thousands of years will dominate. However, even in such a situation, it's more than fair in my view to say that even during that time, we will still have privileged women denying these freedoms in a bid to gain more privilege, just like we are seeing with you.
It's great that we reached 40% representation in 2024. But, you know, to some extent, I'm afraid that was to do with the landslide.
See? Even when she acknowledges that she has something positive to say about her situation, she's going to downplay it and act like it's simply not enough. But she won't say it outright because she knows it will make her look bad.
Which meant that so many Labour candidates won the seats. Because when 50-50 Parliament approached me before the next election, the storyline was it was actually going backwards because there were fewer women candidates in winnable seats. Well, that proved to be wrong, but there's absolutely no guarantee that we'll be right next time.
So, what you're saying is that despite your efforts, many women are not participating in this effort for equality, and you cannot even guarantee that said female-to-male ratio will be consistent. That tells me that women, just like they are in America, are willingly underrepresenting themselves through non-participation.
Particularly today, this week, these last 3 weeks, every day, when we see this global backlash led from Washington against feminism and women's rights, and toxic levels of abuse and intimidation.
Behold, the walking, talking personification of repeat the same lies until it works. She clearly read my book called How to Lie to Dummies for Dummies Volume 2. Feminists in the United States are not subject to abuse, nor are they prohibited from speaking. While they may be mocked, critiqued, and laughed at, that is often the consequence of making dumb statements. For example, all men are rapists, or I'm a woman and therefore it's fine to punch men. We lash back at that, but only in the form of criticism.
You know, back in 1983, I stood for Parliament in North Thanet. The 1979 Parliament had 19 women MPs. The 1983 had 23 women elected, not including me. So the fact, it was only in 1997, thanks to my husband and the insistence of all women shortlists, that the number of women MPs reached over 100.
So, what you're saying is that before the assistance of your husband, you only had less than 30 women willing to try and get into office, meaning it took male and female participation to take that small number into a 100. Yet, you only want women to be celebrated every day, but not men. It's almost like equality does not work when things are, not equal.
That was over 100 Labour women MPs and about 6 Conservatives, and I'm afraid, was it even 1 Liberal Democrat? I'm not sure. But what happened? There was a picture taken, another picture, historic picture. What did the press say? Blair's babes. In other words, denigrating the women. Thank goodness that was not the response today.
Oh, cry me a river, drama queen. They called you a name. How dare they insult your feminine divinity, am I right? I get called Trump the dump every day, bitch. You see me crying about it?
And those women in Parliament and the increasing numbers of women in Parliament have changed things. I've seen it. They've changed things about violence against women. They've changed things about economic opportunities for women. And we need to celebrate that progress. There is still, however, huge work to do. So today the theme is accelerate action. So what are we going to do to make 50-50 Parliament a reality?
Well, judging by your statements so far, probably nothing worth noting. Oh, sure, you'll make your pretty speeches, assign blame, and then make another pointless meeting explaining why your dumb sexist goals didn't go anywhere, but what else is new?
Are you actually a woman in this room who thinks maybe I could do it? Absolutely you can do it. Put yourself forward. Are you a man in this room? Have you ever thought that maybe you should stand to one side and allow your female partner perhaps to stand for Parliament rather than you?
Wow. So all that talk about equality and 50-50 Parliament was bullshit. You just asked men to step aside and give women all the power. That is like me telling you we are going to be partners at a store and it's going to be 50% between me and you. Then I tell you to take a step back and let me run the store by myself. You're double talking out of your ass.
But yet, there are plenty of men in this room who are First Lady material and who need to be able to support their spouses, their partners, to take that step forward. Because
The fuck you mean there are plenty of men as First Lady material? Let's get something straight here. I have no problem with women gaining power. Well, as long as you aren't Hillary Clinton. However, the idea that I have to take a lady's role just because my wife or girlfriend got elected and I didn't is a step too far. The Big D Trump don't swing that way, lady. And anyone who says they are is either lying, gay, or needs to get their man card revoked for supporting this feminazism.
everybody in this room has something they can contribute. Are you a donor? Do some help 50-50 Parliament. They need money. Candidates need money. We need to do... You don't understand, perhaps, how expensive it is to traipse around the country in the hope that you'll get heard by a constituency party who's looking for a candidate.
All right, first of all, no one should give your sexist ass a dime. That 50-50 Parliament shit is a scam since you want men to step aside and be First Lady material. Second of all, do you still think we live in 1996? You don't need to travel for shit. Take your camera, push the little red button called record, and then say your message, and then click send to whatever group or platform you want to hear your position. Best part? It's free. Anyways, people, I gotta catch a movie at the time of this recording. Hope to see you all there, and no, you may not sit next to me. My glorious frame would be too much for your small minds to handle. Like, comment, and subscribe.